technology and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Welcome to the BakerCast.
Warning, please keep out of reach of children, and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.com.
We are the voice of the cannabis community. It's a cannabis revolution right now. Right. We're changing the world that we're living in, and it starts with one bud at a time.
Thank you for joining us. This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.com.
We have Bob Snodgrass on the phone on a nice Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening in Eugene, Oregon. What was your background in glass blowing?
Okay. Should I go back before kindergarten when my mom called me her little artist, or does glass bubbles with alcohol lamp from my Gilbert chemistry set count?
As far as you want to go.
Our freshman year, we learned how to bend small millimeter rod and tubing in a Bunsen burner, and when the chemistry teacher left the room, we'd roast marshmallows on glass stirring rods.
Where was this?
Hartville, Ohio. Way long ago.
So it has something to do with Dominic Labino.
Oh, he was up in the other end of the state. He was up around Toledo. Anyhow, it was more like, what was I doing when I really entered into glass as part of my life? And I guess I was working a straight day job and trying to find the artist inside. By night, my wife and I had a candle factory in our kitchen. We consigned and sold candles all over local stores. One Memorial Day, Marie and I took off and hitchhiked down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee from Akron just to see how they made their candles. My day job was at a gasket and shim company, and some days I ran a punch press. Most days I was operating a large heat treatment unit.
Wow.
Fire. 4x8 glass pit, not glass, just gas pit that heat copper rings in and anneal and soften the copper for stretching. I also cast a lot of small lead pieces into brass laminates and ran a machinist surface die grinder. Some of the copper filings I made with that grinder were less than 100 thousandths of an inch.
Wow.
Like liquid.
Wow.
But enough of those to my friend Chuck, who had been working part-time burning glass, to blend into clear glass, thinking we were going to make something like goldstone. No goldstone here. We did produce red glass rods. We were excited. We started to run out of propane. The color of the rod went from a opaque red to a transparent green.
Wow.
That was our first glass mystery. We later learned that the chemistry of the flame went from reducing to oxidize and cause a valence swing in the copper and changing how the glass and copper bonded. This type of experimenting later led me to create a small palette of color that I would use as highlights on my glass. And that was probably what led me into it, was I went from working in a machine type shop to working part-time with Chuck, and then from there.
Was there like one revelation that happened that turned you, that you knew that you were going to change careers and move into glass?
When I first saw glass pipes, I'd been smoking herb about a year. I knew just what they were for. All kinds of joint holders, chillums, and several styles of pipe made of shiny, sparkly, clear glass.
I love it.
In a basement shop window on North Hill in Akron, Ohio, and that was 1971. The sun was just at the right angle to let them shine in all their glory. Bumps and ridges of clear glass applied in 3D patterns sparkled back at me. Down the steps and in I went. A fellow with a beret was sitting at a torch working. He said he'd be with me in a minute. I asked him to wait. I wanted to see what he was up to. I introduced myself and he said most cats around here call him Chuck Murphy. I asked him if he wanted to smoke a doobie. Found out we had a lot in common, and soon I was stopping in the shop on my way home from my regular job. Had some of my candles on consignment in Chuck's shop. One day Chuck said he was planning a wholesale trip to Youngstown, Ohio and Pittsburgh, PA, and asked if I wanted to take my candles along. And then from there, it was like every weekend we were out, and we had cities like Ann Arbor, Lansing, Detroit, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, of course, Akron, Cleveland, Toledo, Kent. Went to Parkersburg, West Virginia once, and all the way over to Washington, D.C., so we got around. Then Chuck said, you know where the shops are. How about you take the glass next time? Wasn't very long, I came back with the biggest order Chuck had ever had. Next day I showed up. He said, orders like this aren't easy. And we walked into the shop. There were 2 torches set up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Chuck said to me when he lit my torch the first time, this is what my teacher said, fire burns and glass cuts. My introduction.
Yeah, that's something you better take to the bank with you. I wanna go back here, and I want to ask you more about you. We know you're a legend. You've taught, I don't know, what, thousands of people?
I don't think I've gone that far. I've maybe demoed in front of thousands, but probably only a few hundred people who've come to my studio or taken a class from me in some other situation.
I can speak for myself. I know it's kind of like a pilgrimage for a glass artist to get to you. So I'd imagine there's X amount of people that just come to you to get lessons, correct?
It seems to be, yes, correct.
So right now, there seems to be a big industry beyond, the teaching and the students and all that stuff. There's the industry with the pipes. There's a lot of politics around the industry. Is there anything that's annoying or frustrating to you within the glass industry?
I don't really see it as a glass industry. I kind of see it more like the trade show industry that...
the MMJ or the cannabis industry, correct?
The smoke shop industry, yes, has created us as an industry where I think we're still thousands of individual glass blowers. And I guess there is an industry, and like I said, if it is an industry, it's the child of the smoke shop trade shows. Glass industry to me isn't an industry. It's some working in co-op shops, small and large, some working in workshop mills and never getting to experiment, cranking out product.
Yep.
Many just working in their own space, maybe with a friend or two, producing whatever they create a market for.
Yep. Let's see. Thinking about this, let's call it a movement or a lifestyle or I don't know, whatever we're calling it. Now it's become global. There's Germans involved, Czechs, Japanese, South America. There's a lot of actual flame workers from all over the world now that you've touched in some way, shape, or form. Do you think the Americans are still the superior flame workers or pipe makers right now?
Yeah, our American art is superior. I believe we are. Yes, we really are. I've always believed in sharing information. Some of that openness rubbed off on the people in the field.
Yep.
Sometimes an openness or sharing of an idea helps create a larger idea. Don't you think?
Yeah, I fully agree.
Now there's glass shows and competitions in cities all around North America and traveling glass carnival, visiting shops and blowing glass. One of the big stops is here in Eugene, of course. And we have a glass school, several co-op studios that feature classes. We have Cornerstone Glass that hosts several events. We've got Glass Stock. This year the ASGS is going to be there. That's the Scientific Glass Blowers Society. There's an annual convention for them, and they're going to do it here. And the famous DFO is going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good American events for sure.
So with all these events, we end up sharing a lot more.